There she is in her glory, fully finished. Supercharger kit, 30mm tooth belt, same kit as we do the Hayabusa and the Superbusa, same size supercharger. Alternator case is totally different, obviously, because it's going onto a Kawasaki engine. But everything else remains pretty well the same. Pipework has been a bit of a nightmare. The chassis is the airbox, so we've had to cure lots of air leaks. So we've had the smoke tester on it and seeing where smoke comes out, and we've filled all the little air leaks that have been around. We've sorted all them out, and we're getting 14 psi, and we've got it intercooled. So we've got the intercooler in here, and I've just been out for a test ride.
Like MotoGP speed. Doing a wheelie at 140 mile an hour. That is so fast, isn't it?
The mapping seems pretty good. Obviously on the street we can't do any serious acceleration. It's tedious around here with all the speed limits. We were going up to Western, but that's not happening today because they've got other stuff going on. So sometime very soon we'll get up to Western and we'll do a feature of racing the Superbusa against the Super Z. So Supercharged ZX14. The ride was really good. The only complaint I've got is that the secondary butterflies, I think we can open a bit earlier. We've got very progressive throttle control with the secondary butterflies, and as much as I've advanced it over stock, I think there's still more to be added. In low gears it just flies. In a high gear and your low RPM feels just a little bit lethargic because the butterflies are too closed. Even though I'm giving it a lot of throttle, it's only opening a small amount. So we're going to look at the throttle maps and make some changes there. That'll mean we'll have to change the fueling a little bit to compensate for the extra air coming in. And then we'll take her for another test. And then, like I say, we'll be racing against the Superbusa. Starts, idles, runs just like a stock bike. There's no glitches in any of the fueling, because I did it. So down our west end, full of potholes and more potholes and filled potholes, and generally a nightmare to ride on a bike. So we've got new tyres, new chain sprockets, brakes, new test, and try and get a bit more of the gym before the rain comes. Hiss from the blow-off valve on overrun. Nice. Oh, a little burble on overrun as well. That's nice too. New tyres, need to bed them in a bit. The last thing I want to do is high side at no mile an hour because we've got release agent on the tyres. Up to the Silverstone circuit, 40 mile an hour, which it does quite comfortably. So what are we in? We're in third gear, 3,000 revs, 40 mile an hour, smooth as silk. Speed limits everywhere. So over to our right it's Silverstone circuit, and on the left is all the industry revolving generally around Formula One and motorsport. They do nothing but building around here. Speedos are always well optimistic on bikes. They get progressively more and more optimistic as the revs go up. If you change your sprockets, then the speedo is generally quite a long way out. So we'll get down on the dual carriageway now. She's riding so smooth. Wind it on slowly, 5th gear. So we're allowed to do legally 70 miles an hour on this lovely road. So I think that'll probably be about 85 on the speedo. Ooh, needle overshoots really well. You're doing like 60, 70 mile an hour, and next minute you're recording 90. Good job you can't trust these speedos. Let's go right down 2,000 revs. Pulls clean as a whistle from 2,000 revs. Top gear. But that doesn't really show any potential. It's just sweet. The exhaust is nice and quiet for touring holidays. We'll come off here. Third gear, 1500 revs. Whoops, not much of a roundabout this one. Quarter throttle, just pulls your arms off. Hey, let's get down there. The 40 mile an hour speed limit. So I was hoping to get up to Western Runway today and run this bike up against the Superbusa. Just get a back-to-back. Both bikes are making about the same power, same torque, like 370 horsepower, 190 foot-pound of torque, thereabouts. But unfortunately they couldn't accommodate us this morning, which sucks, to be honest. But we have to work around what we've got to work around, you know. But we can't get any true feeling of acceleration. Throttle action's pretty long, to be honest. So as much as I'm accelerating hard, I'm only using about a third throttle. It looks like you've got to wrap your wrist around the handlebars a couple of times to get full throttle. It's a lovely ride though. I do like it, very comfortable. She needs gearing up. You know, we're pulling 3,000 revs in top gear, 60 mile an hour-ish. Woo! So we come back down our rubbish pothole track back to the workshop. Well, I can't feel any glitches in the fueling. She runs really, really nice, really sweet. Little pops on overrun when she drops below 2,500 as the fuel comes back in. Nice but not obtrusive. I think great Graham will be pretty pleased with it, to be honest. I could probably sharpen up the secondary butterflies. It's got secondary butterflies on this secondary throttle control, so I'm not letting it have as much throttle as I'm giving it low down, and I think I could do with modifying that, giving it a little bit more. Just feels a little bit laggy right down the bottom, and it doesn't need to. I think I'm going to make it a little change on that. I'll have a look at the secondary throttle maps and see if there's something that we can improve upon there. So that'll be the next thing we'll do. Sorry boys, we can't give it any more than that, but there you go. A quick tour of our countryside. So this has been a long time coming. The biggest problem we've had is genuine parts. So we got it all up and running, got the horsepower out of it, everything was looking good, but we had a little bit of smoke on overrun and we weren't happy with that. We changed the pistons, changed the rings, so we had the engine back out and pulled it down, and it was one piston where the oil control ring wasn't doing its job very well. It looked like the expander underneath the two rails had broken. It took 2.5 months to get another set of Kawasaki rings. So although we were running JE pistons, these JE pistons were designed by JE a long time back, they ran with factory rings. And that's good because the factory rings work well with the factory bore, and the factory bore is Nickersil. So when you get aftermarket rings and aftermarket pistons, sometimes the rings are not that clever as far as compatibility with the Nickersil, and you get scuffing of the rings. So staying with factory stuff, you know it's going to work well. So eventually we got the rings, I've got it together, we've done the final touches, and here we are on the road. But that's the reason, guys, why you haven't seen anything of it for the past 3 months. It's because we've been waiting for piston rings.
What's the power of it? Or what are you hoping?
Yeah. So like I say, the power of it is very, very similar to the Superbusa. We were getting 370 brake, 190 foot-pound of torque. Power curve is super linear. We'll pull the curves up and show you a graph of the very last power run that we did. And it's what you'd expect. If the engine is breathing well, you've got a certain amount of air coming out of the supercharger, then that certain amount of air is going to produce a certain amount of fuel when it's mixed with a certain amount of, certain amount of horsepower when it's mixed with a certain amount of fuel, and it's really down to octane of the fuel that limits how much power you can push through the motor. So this is just running 98 octane, and we're getting 370 horsepower, 14 pound of boost. It's breathing very well. We see, but boost is back pressure. It doesn't mean flow. The amount of air that flows through an engine can be different for different motors and show different boost pressures. So with this, the boost pressure is down over the Superbusa, but the horsepower is the same. And that's because the airflow is less restricted on this, and it's getting the air into the engine and making that horsepower. Which is great. It just shows that the efficiency of the kit. We've got very little pressure drop. It's just flowing through the engine really well. Maybe the exhaust is also helping in some ways, especially lower down, where we're not blowing so much straight out the exhaust. There's a bit of back pressure there to keep the cylinders filled with good mixture strength. That all helps it run sweetly. This bike weighs probably quite a bit more than the Superbusa. It'd be interesting to put them back to back. We might do that soon. So when we go racing, Superbusa versus this, we've got different factors. This bike is probably a bit heavier. Superbusa is geared up higher. It's 1 tooth up on the engine sprocket and 3 teeth down on the back sprocket. This bike has got standard gearing. So it's going to be an interesting race when we race it, because this is geared lower but heavier, that's geared higher, slightly lighter. Yeah, Yeah, so watch this space, because when we get out there and test back to back, we're going to put the draggy boxes on them, so we'll have actual times and speeds and acceleration, which will be an interesting back to back. So watch this space. Because we're so late in the day, getting this productionized, yeah. So yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So this Supercharger kit now is ready for sale. If you want to buy it, then now's the time to buy, because I've decided, as we're late in the day and getting this running, that our 20% sale for the whole of August, I'm going to extend it through to the back end of September. So if you want to buy any of our kits offers, including this kit, then it's going to be 20% discount over our website prices. So get your order in, and remember that we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks on production of pipe work. But the Supercharger kit, all this is in stock, and then we make all the rest of it, the intercooler, the pipe work, to order. So there is a little bit of production time, normally 4 to 6 weeks. So if you can find the money and you want the kit, now's the time to buy it.